Well, the Hall of Fame came calling, and an ex-Dodger is on his way. What's up, everybody? I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to Dodgers Latest for a Monday here on our YouTube channel. So happy that you're part of our day and that we can hang out with you during these daily doses of Dodger baseball. Winter meetings have kicked off, and the Hall of Fame, the special sort of contemporary committee, has made its mark, and only one person got in, and a couple of big disappointments, I think, on the other side. Of course, you can hit me up right there, Instagram and on X at JRodShow. And, of course, love to hear your comments, your thoughts as we move closer to the new year, spring training, and, of course, a third time around trying to win a World Series for the third straight year for the back-to-back reigning World Series champion Dodgers. And, yeah, so before the winter meetings really get into it, today is the first full day of sort of wheeling and dealing, all these meetings that they've had, all these little conversations. Now we get some face-to-face stuff going on in Orlando. There was a special 16-member contemporary era committee. It's made up of execs, ex-players, and historians. You need 12 out of the 16 votes to be elected into the Hall of Fame, and Fernando Valenzuela came up short. He had less than 5 votes, and because of that, the committee meets every 3 years. And if you get less than 5 votes, then you skip a voting cycle. So Fernando isn't eligible again till 2031. And you know, it's for us who are Dodger fans, who are Dodger, grew up with him, pitching every 5th day, making such an indelible mark. And if you're Latino, I'm not Mexican, but I'm Cuban, and I grew up in L.A., and it is, you can't even come close to try to explain to people the impact that Fernando Valenzuela had on the Dodgers and on Major League Baseball. Listen, Fernando was the first Latino superstar the Dodgers ever had. There was a bad relationship between the Mexican population of Los Angeles and the Dodgers. Remember, they came in, they basically uprooted tons of people in Chavez Ravine to build Dodger Stadium. So there was always a cool relationship between Mexicans and the Dodgers organization. Dodgers, right from the beginning always knew that there was a Hispanic fan base out there because they've had Spanish radio pretty much since the beginning, since they got to L.A. with Jaime Jarrín. But they really didn't have that transcendent superstar that was a Spanish speaker until Fernando arrived late 1980 and just blossomed in 1981. And obviously Fernando's numbers, I would say there was a 5-year span, 81 through 86, where he was the best pitcher in baseball and had ungodly video game numbers. 6-time All-Star, of course, was the Cy Young Award winner, Rookie of the Year in 81, and had 173 wins for a career, almost 2,100 strikeouts. And listen, the numbers just don't add up to get to the Hall of Fame, and it pains me to say it, but I don't know if there's a contributor wing or something that what he opened the door not only to Mexico, Central, and South America, and Latin America for the Dodgers. When he pitched, it was a vibe. It was a party. I remember sitting in the top deck with my dad, and it was a damn fiesta up there. But again, I don't think the numbers are quite there. Fernando, passed away way too early, October of 2024 at 63. And it's good to see that the Dodgers kind of relaxed their sort of stance on retired numbers. Dodgers always had a sort of an unofficial stance that you get your number retired if you go into the Hall of Fame as a Dodger. The only two that aren't in the Hall of Fame at all is Jim Gilliam, number 19, and Fernando, 34. But again, Jim Gilliam was such a beloved figure in the Dodger organization, just like Fernando. And Fernando had his, particularities, he obviously, there was a cool period between him and the Dodgers, and he came back as a broadcaster, really came back as an ambassador, and will forever be the link between, Hispanics and the Dodgers. And, I've always said this, a Hall of Famer is much more than numbers. It's, were you the first? Were you able to transcend? And Fernando transcended. Now, Is he going to be in Cooperstown? I don't think so. Not as a player. Is there a contributor wing? Is there something that he can do because of his opening the door to Latin America for the Dodgers? That's something worth thinking about. But, obviously the fact that the Dodgers have worn their patch for 2 postseasons, Fernando's patch commemorating his life, they've worn that for 2 postseasons now. And he's missed every day by people in that organization and fans. So, vaya con Dios, Fernando. Rest in peace. Sleep warm. And he'll always be a great figure in Dodger Stadium in Dodger lore. I don't know if the rest of Major League Baseball will catch up to that. Didn't get in the Hall. Probably won't. But again, I would love to see Josh Rawitsch and the people up at the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, at the end of the day, the Hall of Fame is a museum. And I think anything you can do to promote the game, to make the game accessible and teach people the game of baseball, I think that's something you need to do. And Fernando, again, if you are a Latino in the early 80s, Fernando Valenzuela was on your radar, and I hope he is recognized for that on a national scale. The Dodgers have already done that in spades with his number retired and those kinds of things here in L.A. So the only person that got in is an ex-Dodger, and that's Jeff Kent. Remember him? Jeff Kent? 2000 National League MVP. Played with 6 teams, and he ended his career with the Dodgers 2005 through 2008. Will probably go in as a Giant. 377 home runs. He has hit. He is the most prolific offensive second baseman in the history of the game. To me, I think he belongs in there. No second baseman has hit more home runs in the history of baseball than Jeff Kent. Prickly guy. He and I got into it a couple times in the locker room trying to get some interviews. But he's a local guy from Bellflower, went to Edison High School in Huntington Beach, and he was the only one elected from the 16-member committee. Again, it's players, executives, and historians who make up this committee of 16 people. You need 12 to get in. And if you have less than 5, no one's ever eliminated necessarily, but you're skipping because it's every 3 years, you're skipping a cycle if you have less than 5. But Jeff Kent, who of course had legendary wars with his teammate Barry Bonds, some people say he benefited from hitting behind Barry Bonds. Sure, why not? Always come up with a guy on base. But, his time in L.A., was fruitful for the Dodgers. Dodgers made a couple of postseasons for him. Obviously, here remembered for his time with the Giants, was an MVP in 2000, got to the World Series with the Giants. They lost to the Angels in that great World Series in 7 games. 2,400 hits, almost 2,500 hits, multiple-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star, and, of course, 377 home runs. So congratulations to Jeff Kent, who's going to the Hall of Fame. And, guys, we talked about how Fernando probably isn't going to go in because of his numbers. The numbers just aren't there. Guys who have the numbers and have Dodger roots didn't get in either. Don Mattingly and Gary Sheffield shut out again. Gary Sheffield's in the same boat as Fernando. He got less than 5 votes, so he has to go wait for a 6-year cycle. Mattingly will be on the ballot again in 3 years with this contemporary era committee. I don't understand. I don't understand Gary Sheffield not being in. I don't understand Don Mattingly not being in. Don Mattingly may have been the best hitter in the American League during his era. He unfortunately came into an era where the Yankees' greatness had closed. He came in 1982. Obviously, the Dodgers and Yankees played in the World Series in 81, and then retired. It was 82 to 95. Missed that sort of wave of the next Yankee generation where they won, a World Series in 96, 98, 99, and 2000. Mattingly retired in 95. Did get to play in the postseason with the Yankees in 1995. MVP, batting champ, just an all-around machine. One of the great, I would say maybe best player in the American League during his time. The numbers are there. I don't understand why he's not. I understand. It's not the Hall of very good, but he was more than very good. He was borderline elite. His back cut his career short, so maybe the numbers aren't as paltry as they should be. He was injured a lot. Maybe that hurts him. But Don Mattingly, of course, Dodger connection was that he was a Dodger manager before Dave Roberts, and just shocked that, especially when you have ex players that wouldn't vote Don Mattingly, and it's crazy. And another guy who actually played for the Dodgers is Gary Sheffield. He didn't get in as well, and he, of course, like we mentioned, is in the same boat as Fernando Valenzuela, less than 5 votes, so he has to wait till 2031 before he's eligible again. Gary Sheffield, 509 home runs. That's the magic number, right? 500 home runs. He played with 8 different teams, including the Dodgers. Hit 129 home runs of those 509 with the Dodgers. That's the most home runs he hit with any team. And he hit a career-high 43 home runs with the Dodgers in 2000. 6 times he was top 10 MVP. 3 times he was top 3. Never won it. Did win a World Series with the Marlins, but I'm just shocked that a guy, one of the most fiercest sluggers, one of the most prolific home run hitters of his era, has the numbers. Again, I don't know if it's a attitude. I don't know if it's a media thing, or execs didn't like him. I don't know, but it is blowing me away that Gary Sheffield is not in the Hall of Fame, and he's a cigar guy too. So I don't understand. Obviously, Bonds and Clemens did not get in, and this was what I've always said as well for Bonds and Clemens. I think everybody of that era, if the numbers are there, you should get into the Hall of Fame. I think Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Roger Clemens belongs in the Hall of Fame, even if we know they cheated or even if we think they cheated, because at the end of the day, what is the Baseball Hall of Fame? It's a museum. You create a steroid wing. You create a contributor wing, like in Fernando's case. You create a steroid wing where you educate people of what the steroid era in baseball was. You're not accusing Barry Bonds of doing it. You're not accusing anybody of doing it. But you're saying, hey, they played in that era. People can sort of make their own decisions and what that is. Because you cannot tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds. You cannot tell the story of baseball without steroids. And it seems silly that the all-time hit leader, the all-time home run leader, and one of the great pitchers of its era, who won 7 Cy Youngs, is not in the Hall of Fame. Baseball never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. We want you not to miss an opportunity. Hang out with us, comment, like, subscribe, share, tell us everything about it. What are your thoughts about Fernando? Hall of Famer? A contributor? Should we make some way to get him in the Hall of Fame? Should Sheffield be in? Should Mattingly be in? Dale Murphy didn't get in. 2-time MVP, Dodger killer, he didn't get in. Interesting times in the Hall of Fame. And again, this is not about it being the Hall of Very Good. These guys were more than very good. These guys were Hall of Famers. And you guys are Hall of Famers for hanging out with us. Winter meetings are in full throat this week. Anything goes on, we'll break it down for you here on Dodgers Latest. Whether you're in Cooperstown or not, remember, I'm Jim Rodriguez, and it's always time for Dodger Baseball.